Johnny Khan here for Seconds Out with the one and only Johnny Nelson at the Duffy Boxing Gym, here for the launch of the new venture. Johnny, walk me through the new venture and what your plans are for the gym.
So the gym itself, it's bringing boxing back into communities where it's needed. And I think right here in Stratford, it's needed. The idea is to bring something like this down the country, not just in London. So hopefully we'll get to Sheffield, we'll get to Manchester, we get to Leeds, different areas in London as well. There's no youth club, there's no places where people can come in as a community and get involved. And I think this place right here in this spot, it is prime, it's perfect. And so, again, to be involved in that, to me, it's emulating something like what Brendan did, where he was getting community involved, getting people involved. You don't have to box if you go to a boxing club. Train, have a bit of pride in yourself. Do something about your health, your fitness, your community itself. And this is the grassroots reason why Duffy Boxing will be spreading its wings up and down the country.
Carrying on the Brendan Ingle legacy there, I just wanted to know, Johnny, what are some of the ethoses from Brendan Ingle's mind you want to apply to this boxing gym?
You know what? Community is everything. Respect is everything. Right now in this area, there's a massive knife crime problem. It's something down the country. And so it's making people value who they are, where they come from. And just using common sense, which unfortunately is not that common.
Is this one of those gyms where you've got a target for when the first world boxing champion comes out of here?
You never know. You never know if it depends on what you're chasing. If you chase the right thing, you never know what diamonds can come out of the rough, and that's what it's about. When people find their way into our sport, people find their way and fall into championship situation, and that just might happen. It might not happen. It might not happen for 5-10 years. It might happen straight away, but it will happen at some point.
I expect to see you in between those ropes at some point, maybe putting on some pads, maybe doing some sparring.
I am actually. I'm doing something for Future Dreams tomorrow. So part of the auction prizes, I'm going to do a sparring session with the auction winner. They're raising money for breast cancer charity. So I'm doing some of those tomorrow. So I'm quite sure, we'll do a couple of corporate things as well, like that down here.
People find more information about that.
Go on the website, check out my Insta, it's on Instagram, it's all over the place. Word of mouth has travelled very, very far.
Johnny, talking about very, very far, we come back from Saudi ourselves. I want to talk about some conversations that happened in Saudi. First of all, an IFL interaction between yourself and Eddie Hearn, where you and him threw some jabs and jibes at each other, called you a company man, which has been levied at you for some time. You defended yourself very well and gave it back as well too, but from your side of the view, do you feel like you batted that argument well back off of Hearn?
I think anybody with any common sense will see that argument's been put to bed, and I'm quite sure it's going to be. What I'm going to do? I'm going to get myself a T-shirt, a company man T-shirt, and that'll just like put everybody in their place. And I just think all I spoke was common sense. All I spoke was facts. All I spoke was what people were thinking, but probably didn't have the bottle to say for whatever reason. I wasn't out of order in regards to it. I saw Frank, I saw Eddie, and both guys eventually agreed in some way, shape or form. Frank was asked if he was in that position, would he take the fight? He said no. Eddie said, well, I didn't really say you're a company man, but you are a company man, but I don't expect. So I understand where they're coming from. And the problem is when questions are posed to them, if they're posed in a way that it looks like I'm jumping on them or I'm being undermined or negative, then of course they're going to respond like that. When they hear the whole conversation, then they think, all right, I get it. I think these two promoters working together, regardless of their past history, can only be good for our sport. And especially if it's here in the UK. Out in Saudi Arabia, they did an amazing job. I think opportunities now, we're talking about fights. We wouldn't have seen Anthony Joshua dismantling Francis Ngannou. We wouldn't have had the conversation about Tyson Fury fighting Ngannou. We wouldn't have the potential of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, or Anthony Joshua and Usyk fighting all over again, if it wasn't for Saudi Arabia. So they've made it very, very possible to potentially become the mecca of boxing, away from Las Vegas, away from New York. So again, it's a great opportunity.
What were your interactions like with Anthony Joshua? You've been fair and critical regarding Joshua and his resurgence and his career, but when you got to speak to the big man himself, what were those interactions like with you and him?
You know what? His business, he's down to business. I think AJ's been scarred by public opinion and public reaction. You know, I can remember many years ago, I said, AJ, they love you. He said, yeah, but it's false love. And so when things don't go right for him, he's seen how the public can change, how we can be critical. That's our job. This isn't a personal thing, because I actually like AJ. I think he's, for what he's achieved in a short space of time and boxing is ridiculous, and people forget that massively. I think, you know, I'm old school, man, so he's made some rookie mistakes, but still making rookie mistakes. He's become a two-weight heavyweight champion and still not reached his full potential. It's frustrating because you see AJ fight and you think, oh my God, you've got so much. Now all of a sudden, you're looking at how the pennies dropped. It must have been a switch. And Davison, Ben, I've given Ben stick. I said, this guy's been given a push. And Ben, I get what he's working on. He's working on turning that on. Because he's not adding 20 of that. He's working on turning that and getting AJ to believe in what he's capable of doing. So what we saw when AJ got in there against Ngannou, you saw a guy that believed in what he could do. We didn't see a guy the AJ that was boxing Franklin that seemed only, wasn't sure about what he was doing. So therefore the pennies dropped, and maybe that was the switch that was needed, and that's what's worked for him. So good on him. But in reality, what he did to Ngannou should have always happened, and he showed you cannot put a novice in with a world-class fighter, because that's what happens. He didn't even break a sweat. And you know what I thought was cool? His reaction afterwards. You know, he didn't jump about like he'd won a world title. He said, well, what do you expect? You know, this is, and that thought, yeah, now you're owning that. So it was good. It was good. I was glad for him. I'm glad for the team.
What were your feelings about Ngannou, who said after the fight now, in the dressing room, he was falling asleep. He felt when he woke up, it wasn't his day. He felt that the schedule that he was under was kind of getting him tired. And these are some of the tricks of the trade that some boxers fall apart of. What did you feel when you heard those reasons?
I don't think Ngannou fell apart. I think Ngannou is a fighting man. He's a tough animal. Ngannou got the job done. Remember, he's a novice as a professional fighter. So as a professional fighter, you have to live with these things. You've got to go through it. You can't fast track it through. So it's not just what happens when the bell goes. It's what happens before the bell goes. It's what happens the week running up to. It's what happens dealing with the press, dealing with the public, dealing with the backlash, dealing with the negatives and the positives. That's all part of professional boxing. It's not just getting in there and putting some gloves up. As I said, you can't play boxing.
What do you do with AJ next? It appears that Dubois and Hrgovic are locked in talks, so AJ was maybe looking at Hrgovic in the interim, as Fury and Usyk will battle twice. So where does that leave AJ? Does he sit out? Does he maybe look to reignite the feud with Dillian Whyte? What does he do? Well,
we've seen that activity for AJ has done him the world of good. The opposition, he's far outgunned the opposition, and that's been good for him. So I think sitting it out now, you're getting some momentum. You know, if your next big fight is against Usyk or Fury, don't sit it out too long. You know, keep that confidence rolling, keep it rolling on. So it's up to him where he goes and how he does it. There's always opportunities out there, but it's a case of which option he'll pick.
Did you watch the return of Dillian Whyte?
I did, and I felt for Dylan. Dylan, he didn't look in the best of shapes. I've seen a lot better, but there's a lot of frustration he was punching out there. And so I'm quite sure he wants to get the rounds in, and his career has been put on hold for quite a while.
Calls are for him and Joyce to lock battle.
Him and Joe Joyce, again. You know, Dillian Whyte's had the opportunity to fight for world titles, and he's been in touching distance, and he's fallen short. So now he seems to be finding himself in a gatekeeper position, and if he's in a gatekeeper position, these fights are going to happen, and they're good fights. Joe Joyce, Joseph Parker, Dubois. You know, these are good fights that could potentially happen. So he's in a lucrative position, because these guys, to get past him, they've got to prove themselves to say, let me have a chance. Let me have a crack at the world title. But they've got to get past Dillian first.
I read Canelo Alvarez's comments regarding Mike Tyson, his thoughts about Canelo and David Benavidez having a fight. And he said, look, you know, if I'm running scared of him, maybe it's because Mike Tyson thinks he's not thinking because he's not sober at the moment, to paraphrase him. But that kind of says maybe to the mindset, or at least what one fighter thinks of the mindset of Mike Tyson heading into that Jake Paul fight. Because whenever you hear about an aged legend returning to the ring, it's always the thought of maybe they're lacking the funds because they weren't handled very well, or the mindset isn't straight. Do you worry about those two things when it comes to a potential return to the ring for Mike Tyson?
I do. I need to understand the details of this fight. And if it's a fight, a proper fight, yeah, I do worry. Because Mike Tyson's the same age as me. His style suits a young, active man. You saw when he was an active fighter, that style didn't suit him because he could get caught a lot more. He could get picked off. Tyson's not going to all of a sudden turn into a sweet-ass boxer, use a jab, use his footwork. My style would be more suited to that than his. So if Tyson's hoping to bring the old Mike Tyson style back against a young man, you know, what Paul's done, Logan Paul's done. What he's basically buying the scalps. He bought Anderson Silva's scalp. He's buying, you know, Mike Tyson's scalps, and these guys must be getting paid ridiculous dough. But in reality, you know, it's got to be all about the dough. It's got to be about the dough because, and Mike Tyson, I don't believe he's skin, but I'm believing he's just adding some more zeros to his wealth. But it can't be about that. But the reality is this: Mike Tyson knows far more than Jake Paul will ever know. He's been in deeper waters than Jake Paul will ever go. So some people are getting lost in the nostalgia of who Mike Tyson was, and maybe Mike Tyson is as well. I'm telling you this now: if Mike Tyson got in the ring with a 10-year-old and the 10-year-old was running rings around him, he's going to gas him out. Mike Tyson knows he's got 47 years on him of knowledge, experience. He's getting in there with Jake Paul. That doesn't know how he does, but he's got youth on his side. He's got pace on his side. That's all he needs: youth and pace. You know, and not to be stupid and make a mistake and get caught early, drag the fight on. I just need to understand the terms and conditions of this fight. And listen, it's a great hype. You know, the fight's on. You know, it might be body shots only. It might be, I don't know. So we're all talking about it. So the job's being done. Jake Paul, well done, you got the job done. Mike Tyson, you got the job done. I just need to understand the terms and agreements.
I saw Tyson Fury's comments on an interview with the Stomping Ground. He didn't quite shut it down. He kind of said it was good for boxing, which a lot of boxing fans will, you know, look at that and be quite surprised with the current WBC heavyweight champion saying that sort of thing is good for boxing right now.
Well, what's frustrating is this: we all, well, not we all, people like of my age and co, they appreciate Mike Tyson and they remember who he is. These young bucks like Jake Paul and they just know him as an old champion. And so they don't actually appreciate and respect who this guy is and what he achieved and what he's done. And Mike Tyson we all still have the mentality that we're a badass. We can still tear people up. 57 years old. You know, you're a father, your life has changed. You're not the fighter you was when you were 27 years old. I understand that. We all think we can still do it. In reality, how does that benefit our sport? Put bums on seats, gets people talking about it, and that's it. In reality, I think Jake Paul is buying another scalp.
I heard you had a bit of a run-in with Tyson Fury at the airport.
I didn't realise until afterwards. I had some earphones on, and Tyson thinks I don't like him. I don't not like him. I just call out bullshit. And so I saw him walking through with his wife and his security guy, and I just waved because I ain't got no problem with him. But my daughter said, "Dad, did you not hear what you were saying?" I went, "No, because I had my earphones on." And I think he feels as though I keep digging at him. So he shouted out one or two choice words. I don't know what they were, but I just thought, no, you're getting that wrong. I think in our sport, unfortunately, if you're an individual, if you're a fighter that's being told whatever you want to hear by the masses, when somebody actually stands up and says, yo, and calls it out, it doesn't mean they don't like you. It just means that they're just saying what it is. They're speaking straight to you. They're speaking from the heart to you.
He was saying, Johnny, you're a very nice man. Johnny, on to a couple more things.
That's exactly what he's saying, apparently.
A couple more things from your boxer business. First of all, it seems to be that Joshua Buatsi and Ante Yarde is very close to being announced. A great fight in prospect. What do you think of it?
Great fight. Lovely fight. I think it's a fight that should have happened a long time ago. Long time ago. Now this is happening. You've got two skillful fighters. One fighter that's been attempted and got up to the top and failed, but he wants to establish himself here on this soil. Gets good coverage, gets good numbers, very confident in himself. Joshua Buatsi getting that momentum back again after that win against Dan Aziz. And now these two are getting in with each other again. I think it's a good fight. I'm looking forward to it.
The thing is, and you feel free to no comment this if you want, but there's another article that's come out regarding Ben Shalom and the alleged handling of funds, which have been refuted. And there's an article that's come out regarding Ben Shalom again, a further article. You feel free to no comment it if you like, given the situation. But it's regarding the handling of funds, and an investigation has been launched into that. It's been refuted by a boxer and Ben Shalom, I believe. But not the greatest of news to be happening when it comes to a promotional outfit and the current state, I guess.
Well, I don't know anything about that, so I can't really. It wouldn't be fair of me to comment on it. I can't even speculate on it because that's, you're telling me something. I'm like, all right, so that's information to me. I'm here to talk about the fights, talk about the fighters. That's their business.
Last thing I want to leave on is the current state of Ryan Garcia, who seems to be on a downward spiral, a falling fight right now, that maybe needs that help from his surrounding team. The likes of Oscar De La Hoya and others are saying, he's all right and he will be fighting Devin Haney when it comes down to it.
It's the problem. What happens when you become a fighter that surrounds yourself with the yes men, that tells you what you want to hear? Unless you're in that circle, that's benefiting from that circle in some way, shape or form, you're not going to tell them that, yo, listen, people outside the circle will be shouting, trying to shout, yo, look, have a word, look, him. And so when people inside the circle say, no, ignore them, they're haters, whatever. And so you look at Ryan Garcia and you think there's something ain't right there. I don't know the boy's business. I don't know what's going on with him. But it just doesn't, there's something not right there. So again, it's having the right people around him to actually advise him correctly. And if you surround yourself with yes men, it's never going to happen.
You're at a point in your career where maybe you felt you needed someone to lean on to, or ever seen that with another fighter and had that conversation with them?
I see it with many fighters, and unfortunately, I get shot down for saying it because I'm thinking, well, you know what, I'm not in that circle, so I don't benefit from loving or hating you. But I'm telling you something that benefits you, because I love fighters. I want fighters to earn loads of dough. I want fighters to walk out of our sport in great health. I want fighters to look back and say, you know what, I'm living as large as a promoter or the TV companies. I want to see that with fighters. I hate sad stories of fighters because historically in our sport, that's what it's always been. So if I've got to be that person to call BS out, I'll call it out. I say, yo, come on, fix up. Because at the end of the day, it's coming from a good place, not a bad place, it's coming from a good place.
Johnny, pleasure's all mine. Thanks for being SecondsOut, so all the best. What? You're doing the AJ on me. You're AJ, I'm Dev. Go on then. I'll take it.